want to thank you all for being patient and waiting as we were running a little bit behind. Welcome to everyone, and thank you for being here. And I'll let Megan and Scott introduce themselves and their guests and take it from here.
Thank you, Christy. Well, my name is Megan Hale. I am one of our executives for the Office of Deaconess and Home Missionary. And I am joined by our other fellow deaconesses and home missioners and members of the Committee on Deaconess and Home Missionary Service. I'm a deaconess. I was consecrated in 2014, and my appointment is working as one of the executives for the Office of Deaconess and Home Missionary.
And I am Scott James Vickery. I am the other executive in the Office of Deaconess, Home Missionary, and Home Missionary, and my appointment is also as the executive in the office and to administer the Office of Deaconess and Home Missionary.
And go ahead, Leah.
And I'm Leah Wandera. I'm a deaconess candidate to be commissioned soon. I'm from Kenya, Ethiopia Annual Conference. Yeah. And my ministry is towards gender justice, focusing on the health and education for girls. Thank you.
I am Effie McGill. I am a deaconess in the North Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church. I was consecrated in May 2020, and I serve out my mission ministry at the as a communications, media, and technology coordinator at Partners in Ministry, which is a United Methodist Women's National Mission Institution in Lawrenceburg, North Carolina.
Hi, and my name is Krishna Hayward, and I am a director on the United Methodist Women's Board, representing on the Committee of Deaconess and Home Missioners.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Deaconess Gail Douglas Boykin, and I was commissioned in 2020, and I serve in ministry in the New York Annual Conference as the Coordinator of Ministerial Services for the Board of Ordained Ministry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Joy Hayek. I'm currently appointed here at Christ United Methodist Church in the Northern Illinois Conference, and I was commissioned last 2014.
Good afternoon, I'm Darlene DeDominic. I was commissioned in 2007 as a deaconess, and my appointment is to serve as the executive director of a church-based drop-in center, ministry with my unhoused and unsheltered neighbors in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clara Esther. I was commissioned in 1986 and served for 20 years in the Alabama West Florida Conference. I'm retired.
My name is Kelly Marcialis. I am a deaconess serving in Palmer, Alaska. I was commissioned in 2018, and I serve as the Director of Organizing for Mission Network, a program of the ELCA.
Thank you for your introductions. I can hear that the Deaconess and Home Missionaries are diverse in so many ways. Can you share with those watching what a Deaconess and Home Missionary is?
Sure, Krishna. Deaconess is
Gail, your mic ended up muted.
Sure, Krishna. So you would think we would have that fixed by now. The deaconesses and home missioners are lay women and lay men who are called by God to be in a lifetime relationship in the United Methodist Church for engagement with a full-time vocation in ministries of love, justice, and service. Together, we form a covenant community that is rooted in Scripture, informed by history, driven by mission, ecumenical in scope, and global in outreach. We are unique from other lay people in that we are consecrated and commissioned to our respective ministries. Deaconesses and home missioners are called to ministries of love, justice, and service, and we function through diverse forms of service directed toward the world to make Jesus Christ known in the fullness of his ministry and mission. So we're a diverse group in age. We range from the 20s on up. Ethnicity, gender identity, and location. As you've heard, we serve all across. We span the globe and work in ministries all across the United States, Africa, and the Philippines. And deaconesses and home missioners work in a variety of ministries that alleviate suffering, eradicate causes of injustice, should I say, and all that robs life of dignity and worth. We facilitate the development of full human potential and share in building global community through the Church Universal. So how do we do that? We are so diverse that we are nurses. We have deaconesses and home missioners that work with undocumented persons, firefighters, music ministers, teachers, administrators, yoga instructors, executive directors and directors in some of our national mission institutions, and community workers, and those are just a few of what we do. And so deaconesses, our motto is that we serve neither for gratitude or reward, but from gratitude and love. Our reward is that we serve. So that is a little bit about us.
Thank you so much, Gail. What an amazing group of laity. I know there must be a rich history that has led to what the order of deaconess and home missioners is today. I'd love to hear more about the legacy of deaconess and home missioners from that past and how knowing our history can give us hope for the future. Darlene,
Sure.
Can you help us with that?
Of course. Deaconesses trace our history back to Paul's letter to the Romans in chapter 16, verses 1 and 2, when he wrote, "I commend to you our sister Phoebe, a deaconess of the church of Caesarea, that you may receive her in the Lord as befits the saints, and help her in whatever way she may require from you, for she has been a helper of many and of myself as well." The Methodist deaconess movement in the United States began when Lucy Ryder Meyer and her spouse started the first deaconess training school in Chicago in 1885. The first school educated young, single women in biblical studies, theology, church history, sociology, economics, basic medical training, and in courses chronicling the accomplishments of women. Meyer believed that women needed thorough intellectual training in order to be effective in their ministry callings. That commitment to education and equipping for ministry continues in our movement today. Meyer studied the ancient diaconate. She was familiar with the rebirth of the movement in Germany and England and saw the need for a similar movement within our own Methodist denomination and in the United States. Women in the early deaconess movement lived in community, did not marry, and wore a uniform that set us apart when in ministry. Students from the Chicago Training School went out to serve as nurses and social workers, administrators, and other community leaders. Today, we continue to live out our callings in our own communities in ministries of love, justice, and service. In 1888, after significant education and advocacy, the office of deaconess was officially recognized at what was still an all-male and all-clergy voting body of the General Conference of the Methodist Episcopal Church, and the office has remained active ever since. Methodist deaconesses in the late 19th century and early 20th century are credited with starting schools and hospitals in communities where they did not previously exist, and the need for such ministries was immense. Deaconesses often worked under harsh conditions and in cutting-edge ministries on behalf of women, children, and youth. They were courageous and laid the foundation for many institutions still in existence in the nation today. At General Conference in 1998, when the category of home missionary was eliminated in the United Methodist Church, there was no place for laity who identified as men to live out a recognized calling to a lifetime of service. Again, after years of education and advocacy, the avenue of home missioner was approved at the 2004 General Conference, and by 2006, only 2 years later, the first home missioners were commissioned. Legislation at General Conference in 2016 was passed to make the office of deaconess and home missioner one of only 3 orders of ministry in the United Methodist Church. Today, deaconesses and home missioners continue to serve in cutting-edge ministries of love and justice and service, advocating for sacred change by fulfilling our mandates to alleviate suffering, eradicate the causes of injustice that robs all life of dignity and worth, facilitate the development of full human potential, and assist in building global community through the Church Universal. This legacy of hope in challenging the church and our communities to ask hard and holy questions, to dismantle intersectional systems of oppression impacting our communities, and seeking sacred change continues to call us to be courageous advocates serving on the cutting edge today, tomorrow, and in the future.
Oh, wow. What a legacy of the Deaconess and Home Missioners. And how rich indeed. How has the United Methodist Women helped to support Deaconess and Home Missioners over the years?
Since the beginning of the Deaconess movement in America, the predecessor organizations of United Methodist Women have championed the work of our order. That legacy continues today thanks to generous mission giving of United Methodist Women everywhere. Those mission dollars support the discernment, training, consecration, and ongoing ministry of deaconesses and home missioners across the connection, including tuition for classes, professional development grants, cutting-edge ministry grants, and scholarships for connectional events like annual conferences. Most importantly, United Methodist Women remains committed to eliminating barriers to service for those lay persons called to a lifetime vocation of love, justice, and service in community through the Order of Deaconess and Home Missioners. They have provided our order with so many opportunities, and so when we have people who are called, many of you who may be watching, who are called to a vocation of love, justice, or service, our goal through United Methodist Women is to eliminate any barrier that a layperson may have in order to fulfill that calling. And thanks to United Methodist Women all across this connection giving generously, we are able to do that for lay people.
Thanks, Scott. And I was thinking, with the deaconesses we have among us, if a few could share how they have been supported in their ministries as deaconesses or their journeys towards ministries as deaconesses.
The United Methodist Women had supported me in ways that I was able to connect my relationship here in the United States coming from the Philippines. That I was able to go and attend my core study classes and mission theology class. How good and exciting it is for us to share the good works of how our UMW giving is reaching out to transferring deaconesses like me or candidates to our deaconess and home missionaries. By sending a person like me to be able to continue and connect our ministry, it is a huge help. The UMW helped make a big impact to all lay people who wants to expand their mission territories all throughout the world. We are so thankful for our UMW.
So in 2018, when I was completing my service as a young adult missionary, after serving in Zimbabwe as a gender advocacy officer, I really knew that I wanted to continue serving with the community and specifically reaching out to fellow young women and girls, just enabling them to amplify their voices, unleash their power, and prevent the violence against ourselves. But I really didn't know where to start and how to do it. But thank God that United Methodist Women is there. So I'm just so grateful to the United Methodist Women in Mutare district in Zimbabwe for reinforcing the discernment in my heart and giving me that platform to serve with them in Zimbabwe. And a big thank you to the United Methodist Women, the global network, for supporting Hope Foundation for African Women in Kenya. Because when I was going back to Kenya, it gave me a platform to continue with my service through that organization, reaching out to the community. And not only did that happen, but the UMW also capacitated me with leadership and asset-based community development skills when they supported me to attend a leadership course at Code International Institute in Canada. Do you know what that did? I came back and took up the role of acting CEO of Hope Foundation for African Women. And not only that, I was also able to initiate Mama Smile Hope Foundation that focus on enabling girls live healthy and further their education. The list is endless. And currently now, I'm pursuing my Master's of Divinity at Drew University. And it's because of United Methodist Women that I'm here. So I'm also currently the first deaconess from Africa to be consecrated very soon, this coming May. And this couldn't have been possible if United Methodist Women was just not there. Because you know what United Methodist Women has done? It has held my hand, lightened my path, and just give me the strength to make each and every step in life with so much boldness in my heart. And I'm so grateful for the great work that UMW is doing to uplift young women like me in the community, to take up that leadership role in the community as lay people, as deaconesses. Thank you.
And so I have had a ministry in Alaska where when I was first consecrated and was serving as an executive director of a faith-based community organization in Palmer, Alaska, I reached out to the Deaconess Home Missioner office for support to help with the ministry that was on the ground here, teaching faith-based community organizing to churches across the borough that I live in. And United Methodist Women, through their support, offered some grant funding for the organization. So we were able to help bring leadership development tools across our borough. And then beyond, as personal development, I was pursuing my education, my master's in theology from Fuller Seminary, and I reached out to the Deaconess Home Missioner office again for tuition support, and was able to get some grant funding to help with books and support in my continuing education. And now, as a layperson, a deaconess in the United Methodist Church, who has a master's in theology, I'm preparing to be an adjunct professor for Pacific Lutheran Theological Seminary, where I'll continue to teach faith-based community organizing, but for climate justice. And so all of these roles and opportunities have come alongside the support of United Methodist Women and the Deaconess and Home Missioner office. I'm forever just grateful for the support of my community. And really just in awe of the support of lay people, particularly lay women in the United Methodist Church through UMW.
I can imagine you all must have had a great impact on your communities and continue to have a great impact on your communities and churches. Clara, can you share how your life was shaped by Deaconess and how that impacted your ministry as a deaconess?
Well, I was fortunate to grow up actually in one of our United Methodist Women's National Mission institutions in Memphis, Tennessee. And there were two deaconesses that worked there. And during the summer, my mother also was working there, and I had to go with her every day and spend the entire day with the deaconesses at the center, putting puzzles together. But I also went out in the neighborhood with them. And I witnessed unconditional love for people that lived in a housing complex that were struggling every day to keep food on the table. I witnessed them go into rat and roach infested houses, and I couldn't grip why two white women would go into this African American housing complex and stand up and do all the things and speak out the way they did to improve the living conditions of families living there. I watched them stand up and push the city of Memphis to make housing projects more handicap accessible, even in the late 50s. They were doing that. I participated in so many activities at that center. None of them actually took me into the future, but I learned, I was in art classes. I took ballet. I'm not doing that. I was in drama. I learned how to play tennis. I was a pretty good tennis player. I had music classes, and music classes even included the violin. The violin. We had opportunities that would never have been provided anywhere else other than at that United Methodist Mission institution called Bethlehem Center. And so I saw these two deaconesses embrace children that were dirty and smelling sometimes. I saw them reach out and try to change every broken condition that existed in that area. I later ended up in Mobile working at a community center, and part of that came from being trained in Memphis to be a community organizer. The Women's Division actually trained several young people across the country in organizing skills. And so I came to Mobile to work as an organizer. I was so impressed with all the things that the two ladies provided in that neighborhood that when I started working at Dumas Wesley, my whole dream was to give that community everything that they needed to help be the tools for children and youth and families to grow and be stronger. We tried to provide programs that they requested, not that we, just decided this would be a good program, but the families requested. We had one of the finest teen pregnancy prevention programs in the nation. Our focus was also to empower the women that we worked with so that when we were gone, they would be able to pick up pieces and do things for themselves, to stand up and speak out against things that were not right. At United Methodist Women's Assembly in 2022, we are anticipating consecrating over 50 some deaconesses and home missioners. And I go, wow, 50 more people to work for love, justice, and service in our world. It's the Legacy Fund through the United Methodist Women that give us that hope. It gives us that opportunity as deaconesses and home missioners to be able to serve and continue to serve, not just right now, but to be able to serve in the future. Our foremothers thought about us before they left this world, and they left that legacy that has carried us through as United Methodist Women. And now we have an opportunity to give to a legacy that will continue to provide service for women, children, and youth around this world. It is a simple thing to do. It's a no-brainer to give to an organization as United Methodist Women have been for over 150 years. And the agency I retired from celebrated over 120 some years not too long ago. They still exist. They still serve. They still provide the needed and necessary tools for women, children, and youth in our United States. I encourage you, take this day, take other days to remember what United Methodist Women has stood for over 150 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. I am so remiss that I skipped over Effie, and she's from my home state. So, Effie, please tell what you're doing down there in North Carolina.
All right, thank you. I have been an active member of United Methodist Women for many years, serving in many capacities on the local and district levels. And I've participated in United Methodist Women's programs that help children, youth, and women. As a deaconess, I have had the opportunity to become even more a part of this supportive community with the United Methodist Church. United Methodist Women provides leadership trainings, and having attended quite a few, I have met sisters in Christ who have nurtured me on my spiritual journey. Partners in Ministry, a United Methodist Women's National Mission Institution, has helped me to live my vision of spreading the good news. It has mobilized laity and clergy to connect and engage in ministry outside the walls of their churches. Volunteering allows me to fulfill my calling by sharing through the media how Partners in Ministry helps to alleviate suffering and facilitate the development of full human potential. I get to share the good news about the ministry programs that they offer that empower women, that care for children, and educate youth. United Methodist Women is about faith, hope, and love in action. Partners in Ministry is a prime example of faith, hope, and love in action. Partners in Ministry is a prime example. It has been amazing to see how God's commandments of love God and love thy neighbor unfolds through the services provided by Partners in Ministry. United Methodist Women on the local, district, conference, and national levels are very supportive of Partners in Ministry. They volunteer their time, their service, and monetary support for its initiatives. Together with individuals and business and community partners, Partners in Ministry focuses all of its efforts on building and sustaining healthy communities through academic enrichment, spiritual growth, and much needed programs and services such as the food pantry and facilitating housing repairs. As a deaconess, a United Methodist woman, I am honored to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And I'm just always so inspired to hear from my fellow deaconesses and home missioners and the amazing work and ministries that you're involved in. And as you've been listening, you may be a deaconess already or a home missioner, or you may be thinking that this is something that you want to learn more about. And so if you would like to learn more about it, we have virtual discernment events that take place every couple of months. There's one that you can join for. There's information on that you can see on the screen. You could email deaconess@unitedmethodistwomen.org for more registration information. And you also could visit our website, unitedmethodistwomen.org/DHM. You can follow us on Facebook. DHM Answering the Call is how you'll find us on Facebook, and on Instagram at Deaconess Home Missioner. And in the chat, if you're watching this right now live on Facebook, look in the chat section for a link to our registration for our upcoming discernment event. And again, we're just so happy that we could be here today to share a little bit about the ministries and the work of Deaconess and Home Missioner, and how United Methodist Women and the Legacy Fund help support that now and in the future.